Now, colleagues, moving right along, we are going to the objective. So at the end of this session, what will we be able to understand, or what is the message at the end of this session? Now, the first one is we'll be able to understand how to check and update older Valistractor version, be you at a school level, because I know the EMIS officials or the IT actually know how to do this. But if you don't know, this is also an opportunity for you to also get that knowledge. The second one is to gain insight on how to use the report available on the dashboard to verify schools with older Valistractor version. And I'm talking about the EMIS and the IT. Okay, be able to use the report. There are reports actually on the on the dashboard, which is two reports. We are going to be going to them. Those two reports speaks about the version of the Valistractor the schools are actually using. And last but not the least is to understand how older Valistractor version impact data submission on the DDD dashboard. And my colleague Jerry will also be speaking to that a bit when he comes on. Colleagues, this is just a one-pager that just summarizes everything about the Valistractor update, the version 7.0.0.1. Now, when we look here, can we see when you open your Valistractor at the tail end here, can you see this? This is where you see the version. So it might be 7.0.0.1, which is the latest, or it might be a version that is lower than that. If it's a version that is lower than that, you'll be able to update. And there are different ways of updating. One is you can update on the dashboard website to the latest one. That is if you have if you are on a version that is not the updated one, you can go to the DDD website and you can download that. You don't need to log on. Just go to the page, scroll down, you would see this. When you just see this, you click here. Once you click here, it will now take you through the steps of updating. Now, another one is if you are on a lower version, maybe like version 7.0.0 or so, when you open your Valistractor, immediately you open it, you get a prompt immediately asking you to upgrade because there is a newer version to what you are using, asking you to upgrade. You can also upgrade on that way. Another way to upgrade is when you have the file, the downloadable file that is being sent to you, okay? Or what you can do is that you can click on that and follow the steps. We are going to be showing you these different ways of updating the Valistractor. And also remember that in every updating that you're doing with the Valistractor colleagues, you need to have an active internet. So you need to be connected to the internet to upgrade successfully. However, there's the EMIS also, they actually have an offline updating, but you need to be connected to the internet to have a successful upgrade. So if you are not connected to the internet, you will not be able to perform these steps that I'm going to show you. And also, once you have upgraded your Valistractor, then you'll be able to submit your data accordingly to the new gazetted term date. Okay, now please note that the data submitted outside of the new term date would not be reflected on the DDD dashboard. Remember, we talked about what is the impact. This is one of the impact. If you do not update or have the latest version, your data that you send, that you've captured on SSAMs, and you use the Valistractor to check for errors and completeness, and then when you submit it, it will not reflect on the DDD dashboard. Okay. Now, colleagues, I'm going to stop here and I'm going to ask my colleague, my co-facilitator, Jerry, to please speak to this slide. Jerry?
Thank you, Ike. Just to confirm, am I audible? Thank you so much. So for this slide, I just want us to go through the benefits of updating to the latest version. So I'll start with the first one, the term dates alignment, which speaks about the gazetted terms. So when you are using the older version of the Valistractor, you'll see that they are not aligned to your gazetted dates. So in turn, it will not allow you to submit. So you also need this version in order for you to be aligned to this gazetted dates, which means the amended dates that were published by the department. So you need this version 7.0.0.1 in order for you to be aligned to the new dates that were amended. Now, the second one that I would like to speak to is the lower threshold due to COVID-19. Now, to speak about this, you'd know that when you've been using the Valistractor, let's say in term 1, there is a threshold that you need to meet. So looking at your registration, looking at your assessments, looking at your attendance, if you don't meet a certain threshold, meaning your data completeness, if it's not very high, then it will not allow you to submit. Now, because we understood that this is COVID-19, so for example, I know in term 2, a lot of questions came from schools saying, how do we capture attendance, for example, because we are rotating? And that's before even when the new SSMs came in, where it allowed you to put in those other reasons for COVID. So it was a concern. So that's when the decision came through to lower the threshold to allow you to capture and even submit your data because of those challenges that you have. So for example, I know that now you are also waiting for the new page in order to amend your assessments. Even with that, you'll know that when looking at your assessments, you'll also be able to submit, even though the threshold is very low or your data completeness. So by default, you know that also looking at attendance, for example, let's talk about educator attendance. By default, if you had not captured 100% of all the attendance, you would have had an exclamation mark on your dashboard. Now, because of that, that's what we talk about, the threshold. So threshold means the percentage required in order for you to be able to submit. And so now you'll see that even your extract data button at the top of the Valistractor will always, most of the time, be activated because of the lower threshold of the Valistractor. Now, the last one, so this one actually speaks from version 7 upwards. So you know that most of the time, or back then, when you had to update, you had to do it manually. So manually means that basically your IT support or your IMI support or DSM support, if you're in Gauteng, that had to come to your school with a patch or with an update and install it on your system in order for you to be updated or be on the latest version of the Valistractor. So now the benefit with updating to the latest is that when a new version comes, the next one, you don't have to go into the dashboard as mentioned by IK, where you have to go into the dashboard and click log on and scroll down to the download button. By default, when you open your Valistractor and you are connected to the internet, you will see a pop-up there that says, that shows you that an update is available for you to update your Valistractor. So it doesn't have to be a manual process anymore of looking for the Valistractor or not even know that the new Valistractor is out. So I think that's one of the biggest benefits, where now you'll always be up to date instead of waiting for the older version. So if you are using version 6 and even below, some schools are using below versions, IK will show you that. That's where now you will not know whether there's a new update available or not. And that could disadvantage you with when it comes to the new releases and all the benefits that come with the new releases. So thank you, IK. I think I'll hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Jerry. And colleagues, I hope that we're able to understand all the important notes that Jerry just put out there. I hope that we also be able to incorporate it. One thing that just stood out for me is the necessity to have an updated Valistractor. So if there's a new upgrade that comes, it notifies you immediately. Once you have an active internet connection, you know, it tells you that a new version is up and you need to upgrade to that. Okay, moving right along, colleagues, we are going to now go to how do we download the latest Valistractor version setup. And before we go into this, I just want to put out there also and repeat what I've just said earlier, that we know that in some provinces, the schools do the updating by themselves, like Northern Cape, some part of Limpopo, Mpumalanga, some part of that too. But I know in Gauteng that the schools are not allowed to have system updates and application updates. The IT technicians come to the schools and assist them with that. So whatsoever you are going to learn here, please, it must apply to your provincial guideline when it comes to systems update and also application update. Okay? But we just want the school level users to know how to update the different different ways of how to update their Valistractor. Now, moving right along, as I said, number one, the first place that we can have the updates is on the dashboard. And remember, you don't need to log in. Just once you have this page, you go down to this part. You go down to this part, straight to this part, and you click here. Now, immediately you click here, it will start updating for you because it has the file, the update file already incorporated here. So it starts updating immediately. Remember, you need to have an active internet connection for the update to run successfully, okay? That is the first one. Now, the second one is where you go to the file, where the update file is, and you click on download. From download, you click on setup. Okay, now you click on the download folder to locate the downloaded Valistractor setup, and then you double click to run the Valistractor setup on your computer or your desktop. Now, once you run that, it shows you this. Now you click on next, and I would show you what you're going to click next on. Remember also, alternatively, the school can upgrade their Valistractor version by following the steps below. One, run the Valistractor with active internet connection. Click upgrade when an upgrade pop-up comes up, then follow the steps listed on the slide. Remember, we have talked about this. I've talked about this. Jerry has also spoken about this. Now, once you click next here with the installation process, it comes here. Now, it has run to this spot where it says, do you want to install the application? Now you say yes. Immediately you accept to install. Now, once you install here, it gives you this little license agreement. Okay, immediately it gives you this. There is no I do not accept. Of course, if you click no I do not accept, you will not be able to prompt to the next page. But if you say I accept the terms and the license agreement, it shows you the next button here, which you click, and then it comes to the last one, which says install sheet wizard completed. Now, once you click finish, there is a point here that says launch the program. That is launch the Valistractor. If you want to launch it immediately, you click finish and you see if it's working. You check here, you just click here. But if you don't want to launch it, you uncheck here and you click finish. Then immediately you would see the icon. If you have an outdated one, it will also change the icon to the new one of the Valistractor. Then you can know. Another way to check if it's the right Valistractor version that you have actually downloaded, once you launch it, immediately you launch it, check below by the right here. It shows you the version. Okay, then you need to see version 7.0.0.1. If you don't see this, then that is not the right version that you need to have. Okay, I hope that we understand this as a school level. Remember, you need to have the right version for you to run your data, and it's in line with the new gazetted terms that have been incorporated. Now, if you do not do that, and you have not updated yours, and you do not update yours, remember, it will affect the data on the dashboard. Once you submit, it will not reflect on the dashboard because you do not have the updated Valistractor. Okay, now we are going to the other part, which says downloading the Valistractor submission report. And this is the flip side, because we're actually talking about now as IT technicians, as MES officials, right? Most of the time, the schools would not be aware, okay, because we know that their internet connections and all that, they might not be aware that their Valistractor is outdated, because the school admin and all that, the officials, they have a lot that they are doing. So it might not be like they purposely do not know, but it might be like an offsite. They don't remember that their Valistractor version is outdated. Now, as the IT technician and the MES that supports the school, all you need to do is you need to run this report that we are going to go to now. It's called the Valistractor Usage Report and the Valistractor Submission Report under the subtitle systems on the report portal on the dashboard. Now, all they need to do before they visit school, because I know maybe they visit school on a Mondays and I've forgotten the other days, and I'm talking about Gauteng, right? But before they visit school, you need to plan and say, which of these schools am I visiting and what am I doing in these schools? Okay, now you need to run this report to check those schools that have, it might not be the only thing you do, but this is one of the things that you do, because you cannot go to a school A and you know that this school has an outdated Valistractor report, and you go to this school and you solve other issues without solving that because you do not know. Now, the report is going to inform you before you even make that drive. Okay, now you put the names. Remember, you are not checking for the names of the school because you are at a district level. You have the access of a district level if you're an IT technician or an MS official. Now, what you need to do is that you will check based on the Valistractor version. The Valistractor version will inform you of the school that you need to visit. Okay, once you sort with the Valistractor version, it will inform you of the school that has outdated Valistractor version. I'm going to show you a practical example, as alluded by Jerry saying, I would show you that just to show you, how you can do that. But let's move on. And if you're an IT or you are MS official, please pay attention to this. Also, school level, you can also learn from this, but this information is directed to the IT and the MS officials. Right now, this is the dashboard. Right now, we are in the summary page. Immediately we log in, it gives us the summary page. We now click on report. Now remember, once you click on report, you scroll down and it's under system. Now when you get to system, immediately you see Valistractor submission report. You can also use the Valistractor usage report. Both of these reports, you can see the Valistractor version there. Okay, now the next thing you now do is you now click on this tab here, which selects the desired term on the parameter option pop-up. Once you click here, it shows you the different terms of the year. You can click on whatsoever you want to now work on. Then you click on apply to download the report. Now, immediately the report is downloaded, this is what you would see. Remember, look at the version, okay? It gives you also the data quality, it gives you the district, it gives you the school name, and it gives you the date submitted. So once you submit, now the only way, colleagues, remember, and please note if you are an IT technician or you are an MS official, the only way you will not see the school and the Valistractor version is when that school has never submitted, whether interim, which is the weekly submission, or the final submission. If they have not submitted using the Valistractor with an active internet connection, then it will not show their version, because immediately you connect to because you need the internet to submit your data to the dashboard. Immediately you do that, it picks these two information, the data quality, the date submitted, these three information, the date submitted, data quality, and also the version. Remember, we are not looking at this because the Valistractor has a threshold, and also the provinces have a threshold. They have agreed the percentage they've agreed for their provinces to submit at. Okay, now once you have done this, then we now say, how do you filter? Okay, how do you filter to get the exact school with outdated Valistractor version? Now we go into that. This is the report we are engaging in. The first thing you do is you click on row 2. It says click on row 2 to highlight the entire row. Now place your mouse or cursor over the number 2. The row will be highlighted. This means that the changes you will make will apply on this. Okay, now you click here, it highlights from beginning to the end of the row. Now the next thing you need to do now is to click on data. Now remember, we are filtering. Okay, you click on data. Now immediately you click on data, you click on filter. Immediately you click on filter, what happens is it brings these drop down arrows. These drop down arrows that you are seeing now. Immediately you do that. Now, once it brings out those drop down arrows, what is it saying? It's saying that the filter drop-down arrows will now be added on the column saying this worksheet is now ready to be analyzed. Okay, now what do you want to do? Now, the next thing you do now, you go straight to the version, because I said the version will inform you of the school name you need to visit. Now you go to the version, and immediately on the version, you click on the drop-down arrow, filter for filtering option. Now, once you click on it, this dial box comes. It's saying, what do you want to check? Remember, we see version 7.0.0 and we have version 7.0.1. We also have older version, which I'm going to show you in the live demonstration that I'm going to do. Now, all you need to do is you need to now check on the filtering option. Once you tick the latest Valistractor version, immediately you tick that, you click on OK, it will now take you to all that you need that has 7.0.0.1. If you uncheck here and check 7.0.0.0, it will change everything and only highlight schools that have 7.0.0. If you also check maybe 6 point something, it does the same thing. It rearrange the data for only schools that are using 6.0.0, as the case may be. The essence and the benefit of this is it informs you before you go to the school to say you need to go to school XYZ to make sure that their Valistractor is updated, which will enable the school to submit the data that will now be reflected on the dashboard. Remember, if it's not updated and they submit using that, one, they don't have the new gazetted terms incorporated, the data would not show on the dashboard. Okay, remember that. Now, based on this, I'm going to stop here. Permit me to stop sharing here, and I'm going to just do this exercise with a real life information on how, as IT technician and as MES official, how you can also filter. I'm going to stop sharing here. Please permit me to stop sharing, and I'm going to go straight to the Excel form and just go down and just show you what I have just done immediately now. Okay, now I have just gone straight to the report. Now, can we see, this is the report now. I have just put this report out, and can we, when I scroll down to the end, can we see the Valistractor version? Can we see the Valistractor version? We have 7.0, 7.0, 7.0.0.1.0, 5.1.0. We have 6.0.1.0. We have 5.2 and all that. Okay. Now I'm going to go the same step that I just explained to you. Remember column 2? You click, make sure it aligns everything, all this. Now, what did we say we'll do? The next is data, right? Now, after data, what next did we see there? Is filter. Now, remember, as I filtered, all this drop down is now highlighted. I don't need all this information. As an MES official, you would not need this because you're at the district level. Now, you go straight to what you need. Okay. Now, once you click this drop down, can we see? I now say uncheck all of them. And let me see those that are below. Now I can check all of them and say, let me take out the latest version, which is the 7.0.0.1. I take that out because I don't need that information because those people are complying. They are with the latest version. So I need anything from 7.0 lower. Okay, 7.0.0.0 lower. Now, once I click here, can you see? It has now highlighted all the information that has to do with 7.0.0.0 and lower. Nothing, you would not see 7.0.0.1 here. Can we see all of them? Now, this is all the information now. The IT technician or the MES official would now get the names of the school. Now, get the names of the school because he or she would now prioritize and say, if I have a lot of schools and I cannot finish them today, I would continue tomorrow. But now, based on proximity, I need to visit the school because this school stands a risk of not getting their data updated on the DDD dashboard because they don't have an updated Valistractor. Okay, permit me to stop sharing here, and I'll go back to the slide. Colleagues, I think we are actually, I would stop here, and I'm just going to, sorry, I'm just going to go to where we are now. Okay, now I would stop here, and once I stop, colleagues, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to ask my colleague Jerry. Jerry, is there anything you want to add or anything you felt I omitted?
Thank you, Ike. Yeah, just to bring something to our colleagues' attention is that in some instances, you'll see that schools use a network computer. And you'll see that you'll find 5 schools or 5 computers in the same school. But then sometimes you'll find that they're using different versions of the Valistractor. So that's also one thing to bear in mind, that when you go to update, make sure that you also update for all the computers in the school if they are networked, so that one school shouldn't use, or one computer shouldn't be on version 5, the other one's on version 7, the other one's on version 6, because normally they focus on the main computer. Thank you, Ike.
Thank you so much, Jerry. That is a very important thing, because I know that most of those big schools, they have so many computer network, and they tell you this is the main one. Please treat the main one the way you treat the other ones, okay? So they have the same information. So if you have updated the main one, you please update the other one, so they actually have the same. Colleagues, also, I'm going to stop here. Before we go to the question and answer, there's an important information I want to give you. We are going to be having notifications, adverts sent to this. We are glad to inform everyone that we are going to be having Karin, and I'm sure you know who Karin is. Karin is the SSAM's owner in DBE. Okay, now we are going to be having Karin this coming week. Okay, she would have a pre-recorded webinar where we would listen to all the information, all the questions that you have been asking. Now, colleagues, if you have more questions about SSAMs, please send your questions to the help desk. And this is the information on the help desk. Please send your information through the help desk, or you can put the information also on in the Q&A. Please invite your colleagues. It's going to be a very interesting session. All the questions you have on SSAMs, those questions that you don't know, you have not gotten any response on what to do, the SSAM's owner will be here from DBE. She's going to be answering questions pre-recorded. Okay, we would look at the first session and decide if we would have a follow-up. But this is an opportunity that comes once in a while. So it's not something that we have every time. But because of the questions we'll have, she's agreed to do this. So please invite as much as you have. We are going to be doing adverts on this, and we are going to be sending links to say register to attend. Please register, and let's bury this gray areas. You don't know what to do on SSAMs, issue of rotation, issue of not knowing what to do on term 2, term 3, all those questions, bring them next week, okay? I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to say, Musa, do we have questions? Because I see someone's hand and I see questions. Please, over to you, Musa.
Thank you very much, Ike. There has been questions from our chat and also from the Q&A. While we were able to address most of them, some I think would be of benefit for us to share them live. The first question there is from Narisha Kasim, and she asks, hi, how are you? How do we get our summary data? It's pretty vague, but I assume she means the summary data that Valistractor compiles.
Okay, so she's asking, how do we get the summary data?
That's it. That's
all
it.
Right.
So she's not clear from where, so I assumed it's the summary data that Valistractor puts.
Musa, I'm actually losing you.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Jerry, I don't know, did you hear the question?
Yes, so the question is, hi, how are you? How do we get our summary data, and that's how it is. So I'm not really sure which summary data is needed. Maybe if we can get some clarity.
All right, thank you so much. So Narisha, if you can be able to speak, Musa will be able to assist you to be able to speak, and then you can ask your question and we'll be able to assist. Over to you, Musa.
Thank you very much, IK. Am I coming through clearly?
Yes, now. Yes,
okay, great,
it
great.
is fine now.
All right, so the other question is from Eustace Dichava, and she says, how do I submit the data manually when an unexpected error occurs?
All right, Jerry.
Thank you. So unexpected error, already, even with that, it's a bit vague because there are so many errors on the Valistractor or on your database. Based on your database, maybe there are duplicate subjects IDs in your database, or maybe, so it depends on what the issue is with your database, because we do get issues because database, it is a system and sometimes systems do not work the way they should be. So if I can make a request, that can you send that request to help@DBE dashboard with the screenshot of the error that you're experiencing? Then we'll take it from there to see how we can resolve your issue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Musa, I can see a hand up.
Yes, we've got a hand from Dimakato Megi Matumbu. We've given you a chance to talk. I see that you are also unmuted. Please go ahead. Dimakato, we're not hearing you, but it looks like you are unmuted. Maybe your microphone, is it on? Dimakato, I hear some activity on her side, but she's quiet. Okay, maybe while Dimakato gathers herself, there is another question here that I thought was very interesting, gentlemen. It's from Mashele, and she's asking, is there a way for us to be able to check or to submit using our mobile data? She expresses there that sometimes she is on the move and is wondering if there is a way for us to upload the data from a mobile device.
So when they said uploading from a mobile device, as we know, you can only upload using the Valistractor, right? So if you want to use the mobile device being an internet connection, yes, but unfortunately you cannot upload your data on the Valistractor using your mobile phone, because you don't have the Valistractor on your mobile phone. So you can use your mobile phone as a hotspot or to connect to your computer or your laptop where you can upload your data. And you must make sure that it falls between the requirement of the threshold, what the Valistractor agrees on, and the percentage on the province that you have. Some province might say 80%, some say 85%. So it depends on what the percentage they've agreed to submit, and make sure that you don't have any red with exclamation mark, and then you can submit.
All right, thank you for that response, IK. I want to try again and connect with Dimakato. Dimakato, are you with us? Okay, it doesn't seem like we can connect with Dimakato. If she can pose her question in the chat, and then we will read it live. I also have Narisha Kasim, who asked the original question about the summary. Narisha, if you can unmute yourself and ask the question, you are live. Narisha, just move your mouse to the bottom left of the Zoom screen. You'll see there's an icon of a microphone there. Click it to allow you to be unmuted, and you can ask your question. Narisha Kasim, go ahead.
Hi, I'm not sure if y'all can hear me.
We hear you fine. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for answering my questions. I also would like to find out at the end of the year, the department gives us forms to fill. Can we take out information from the Valistractor to fill on those forms?
Jerry, please go. Did you hear the question?
Yes, I had the question. I'm very hesitant to say yes because I'm not sure which forms are needed. But then again,
different summaries of learners, the learners' marks. They want days that they was absent, different things.
Oh yes, so basically it should be a true reflection of what's captured in SSMs. That should be a problem if you have captured properly in SSMs, because remember, what you see on DDD dashboard, it is a reflection of what's been captured in SSM. So if the information is accurate, then there shouldn't be a problem with that data.
Okay, wonderful. And to answer her previous question, it seems like the way that we answered it on the chat was correct when she said the summaries. So the way that I answered it is that I said if she clicks on any of the robots on Valistractor, it will take her to a page that has the summary on that specific robot. However, once she's in that summary, she can page that page to look at all the information that's in Valistractor, is how I answered her on the chat. And gentlemen, I have, I'm gonna lower the Makatso's hand and ask her to put on chat because we were not able to connect with her. I now move on to Bongani Ngobo. Bongani, I'm allowing you to talk. If you could unmute yourself and please ask your question.
Good day, sir. I just want to find out if the schools for this, is it optional for the schools to have internet or it is a must? If it is a must, whose responsibility that the schools should have internet access? Subsidiary to that, in schools where there is no network coverage, what is the leverage in that problem? Thank you.
Bongani asking very relevant questions that have been standing questions. Which of you gentlemen would like to tackle?
All right, thank you so much. I'll take a stab at it. Jerry, if there's anything I'm missing, please go for it. Colleagues, I know that schools are supposed to have internet when provided, okay? The questions that relates to internet is a discussion between the school and the district and the school and the governing body, right? So we are not allowed to give verdict or give talks when it comes about internet in school. Now, the second question is, if a school does not, or school in the rural do not have internet, colleagues, you can take your data and go to the district office for the EMIS official to assist you with uploading. Okay, I know most of the district, you take them in a flash or you burn them on CDs and they would assist you to upload. Okay, I think that's as far as I can comment on that. Jerry, is there anything you want to add?
No, I think you've covered most of it. Even though internet is still a problem in certain areas, but most of the schools, when looking at all the provinces or most of the provinces, they do have internet provided, even though sometimes you get 500 megabytes or whatever it is. But then for those schools, most of them, they take it upon themselves to get that little data because when you look at the data needed to submit, for example, we're talking about 1.5 megabytes at most. And you know that 1.5 megabytes is not even enough to download a song or stream a song. So that's how small it is because it only takes small bits and pieces of the actual database and not the entire database. So yeah, I think it's up to the school and also the department, the districts, if that it needs to be escalated to the second manager, to the director, or finding a way, even if I know in some districts they had an agreement with the service providers like Vodacom to assist them with connectivity. So I think it is different according to your location and all that. But then, yeah, I do hear you. I do hear it can be a major problem.
Wonderful. I think that's the best answer we can have in that regard, gentlemen. I do also have Nicholas Mtombiseni Mavuso with his hand raised. Before I attend to him, I do want to read this question from Naras Fossa, who says, and this is the question that we've been experiencing ever since lockdown, or rather ever since we've updated SSMs. It says, we finished the work for term 2 and wrote exams, but our marks are not reflecting in the reports. And the question there is why. Jerry, would you like to tackle this one?
Your marks are not reflecting on the dashboard. Most of the time, remember, marks are based on what you capture, and you'll see that when you look at your task marks, it gives you a percentage on the DDD dashboard. So most of the time, when you get such a query, normally when you look at the dashboard or even the database itself, you'll see that in module 12, most of the marks were not captured. But again, also don't forget that with your marks and some of the marks you expect to show there, it could be depending on the level you're in. If you're at district level and you see that the task marks are very low, it's just because that they were not done, basically. So again, we do not manipulate data. What's captured will always be reflected onto the DDD dashboard.
Wonderful. Thanks for that response, Jerry. I'm about to connect Nicholas Mtombiseni, but I do want to encourage us colleagues, if a pop-up on your screen should have appeared with regards to our polls, we encourage you to please give us feedback on the delivery of this webinar so that we improve in the future. If you could just rate us in that poll, that would be appreciated. Nicholas Mtombeni, I see you already unmuted. Please go ahead and pose your question.
Yes, good day, sir. Yes, good day.
Good day, Nicholas.
Yes, good
please
day,
go
sir.
ahead.
How are you today? Please continue.
Okay, my question is based on, since most of our school are having a problem with the network, I just want to check whether the system allows us to use the smartphones. So if so, in case where we have to submit weekly, the system give us up until to what time to submit, because you will find that even when using the cell phone, the network at school is still a problem. But we will find that when I get to home, I can do the submission. So I just want to check that the system allows us up to what time to make that submission. Thank you, sir.
A good question. Jerry, would you like to attempt to answer it?
So there is no time limit, but then, as you know, normally you'd capture your attendance on a Friday. So on a Friday, once you've done your weekly attendance, or even done some of the assessments, then you can submit. So there is no time limit, but again, you should go according to your provincial policy. In some provinces, they say from 12 o'clock, you should have submitted. But looking at that should give you an indication on when you need to submit. But in terms of the system itself, once you get home, you can still submit onto the dashboard at any given time. But ideally, it should be before 10 o'clock if you want to see your data reflecting onto the dashboard the following day. And then you should be able to submit. But then if you can't submit on a Friday, it doesn't mean that you can't submit your weekly data. Either way. So if you miss that chance, you can still do it the following week. But then advisably, it should be on a Friday, the moment you are done with your weekly submissions. And when it comes to connectivity, yes, you can connect your cell phone to your laptop, as Musa mentioned, but also bear in mind that when you submit, it needs an SSM's database. So the system alone, it does not validate data without your SSM database. So when you have the Valistractor, you also need to have your SSM's database, so that when you validate, it checks your actual updated SSM's database. And once you connect your phone to your laptop, then that means you will have internet connection on your side, then you'll be able to submit using your phone's connectivity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Here's a question coming in from Constance Malulege. She says, we have started capturing marks, but report still says 0% capturing, or to subject weight is very low to reflect on the dashboard. How do we?
Hi, so in terms of the report still says 0% capturing. So I'm guessing you're talking about your assessment. So again, it could be 0% because you only started capturing maybe the first part, or maybe one class, and maybe because you're doing rotations, I don't know why. But if you are updating and then you're updating using your current or your updated SSM's database, because I know sometimes schools, what they do is they deploy first, and then they look at the deployed database, which is not the updated one. Because the moment you look at only your deployed one, it's not your current used database. So always make sure that you are verifying your current database, which is, if you deploy, then it should be looking at the date of your deploy time, and verify that instead of just looking at your old database. Otherwise, it will not update on the Valistractor.
Wonderful. Thank you for those responses, gentlemen. And as IK said, please look out for our invite next week, where we will have Karine herself bring all those SSM's questions with you, and we can get a clearer answer on them. Other than that, gentlemen, I'm not seeing any other question, at which point I hand over back to you, IK.
Thank you so much, Musa. Thank you so much, Jerry, for taking our time to respond to the question and support the session. Colleagues, for me, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for taking our time to join the session today. We hope that this session has been informative. We hope that you will be able to pass the message across to you. And we hope that you actually be able to incorporate the learnings that you have learned here to the work that you do. Colleagues, also remember that all attendees that registered, whether you attended or you did not attend, you would receive the link to the recording of this webinar. You would receive the slides that we just presented, and you also receive the attendance registered. Colleagues, I just want to say thank you so much. Remember, next week we are having a pre-recorded session with Karine. Please invite your colleagues, those people that have questions on SSMs. So it's going to be SSM specific. So all those questions you have on, when a learner is not there, online classes, comorbidity, patch, talk about attendance, talk about rotation, talk about facing in and facing out. All those questions that you have, please come with them. Next week, Thursday and Friday, we'll be having the session so your questions can be answered. From my side, thank you so much and have yourself a fantastic weekend. Over to you, Jerry, Musa.
Yeah, I was muted there. Thank you, Ike. So I think this should be a good start in making sure that you understand what needs to happen and how to capture, and also looking at the Valistractor, because we do understand that due to the lockdowns and COVID and all these issues, there's a lot of unanswered questions. So that's why we also bring to you the head of SSMs next week to make sure that all the questions, everything is answered properly, and you should be able to do your work comfortably, knowing exactly what to do, because I know that's the biggest issue. So thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Jerry. Not a lot from my side. I just want to salute everyone who's working in the education sector at this moment, where we are having such challenges with COVID-19. Thank you for attending today, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.